seen it. Yes, that's the one I've ever seen. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Mine's filled with California floor art. Check the gas, check the oil. Nobody checks the oil in Florida. It is dry.
All right. Test, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. If everyone wouldn't mind just filling out the guest sheet. Sure. No, not at all. Go for it. AJ Taylor 317. That's my Twitter handle. Is this okay to see? Can you guys see is that enough contrast?
Oh. For us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, awesome. Is there any way to dim the lights a little bit just so we can get some more contrast? Oh, okay. Let's make sure this is going. Oh, there we go. All right, maybe a little too much. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect. Yep. All right, thank you very much. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. I am Ollie Taylor from Bell Marketing Design Studio. I am the founder of the Captivation Key, which helps brands go from forgettable to captivating. Today, I'm going to be speaking about using storytelling for thought leadership and social media success. Marty called me earlier this week, told me that someone who was supposed to speak originally dropped out and called me to fill in. So I'm happy for the opportunity to be here in front of you. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So as I said, this is me, CEO, Creative Director of Bell Marketing Design Studio. I typically work with professional service brands like insurance agencies, financial advisors, those types of businesses to help them go from forgettable to captivating. And we'll go ahead and get started. So once upon a time, right? So who here has worked out at a commercial gym, like a Retro Fitness, Workout World, or anything like that? Okay. All right. So I remember one time that I went to go work out, this like many, many years earlier. I stepped into the gym for the first time, and I remember just feeling absolutely overwhelmed first at the size of the entire building, but then also just the amount of equipment that was there. It seemed like there were so many different machines that somebody could use or jump on. There were people in there who were doing all types of stuff that I had never seen before. I didn't know the human body could do. But then I didn't want to stand there too long looking like I didn't know what I was doing. So I just hopped onto the first machine that I could think of. And I remember sitting there trying to figure out, okay, what workout should I do? I didn't have a plan, didn't have any idea how the machine worked. And I'm sitting there on my phone trying to look up quick instructions on how to use the machine, how to get it operating. And over in the corner of my eye, I see the most gorgeous girl that I've ever seen in my life. She reminded me of Eva Mendes. I don't know if you know who that is, but one of my absolute favorite actresses ever. And so I'm trying to get this machine moving so that she doesn't realize that I don't know what I'm doing, right? So then this other guy who is definitely a gym bro, definitely spends a lot of time in the gym, comes over, sees that I'm struggling, decides to help me out. He's like, hey, you gotta undo this pin first before you can move the machine, right? Right in earshot of this girl that I'm absolutely gaga over. So I'm like, I sheepishly say, thank you, man, I appreciate it. And she shoots me this pitying look. And needless to say, I've never been back to that particular gym. I did not marry her. Nope. I wish I had a better story. That's how I would have written it. But no, not a date, not a phone number, nothing. I just left, took my tail between my legs, and got out of there. All right. So why am I talking about this story of going into a gym and my embarrassment and all of that to this crowd of construction professionals, especially in the context of urban revitalization, right? Because I would assert that when it comes to social media, most of you probably have had that experience that I had in that gym for the first time, right? Just that sheer overwhelm, that discouragement, what the heck do I do with this thing called social media that everyone keeps telling me is important, but I have no idea how to use. I've got other things that I need to do in my business. What am I going to do with this, right? So my intention is for you to leave today's session feeling a little bit more encouraged, or more self-assured, and maybe excited about the fun that you could have with social media, especially when it comes to building relationships, partnerships, and growing your own thought leadership. So when it comes to today on social media, anywhere that you look, anybody you're talking to is drowning in a sea of noise. There are no shortage of opinions, strongly held opinions on social media. You can easily get into a fight just by saying that you love pancakes. There's somebody who's going to say, well, I like waffles. And then somebody else is going to say, well, this is French toast erasure. How dare you go educate yourself, right? So, so just because there's a lot, and then there's a lot of people who are on these platforms, they learn a little bit, and then they start promoting themselves as experts, right? So how does your audience know who to listen to, and how do you cut through that if you're trying to get in front of the right people and help them? Well, you want to cut through the noise. Oh, so this is just an example of what social media looks like today. Loud noises all the time, never ending. But storytelling. Storytelling is a powerful tool that you can use to captivate and connect with your audience. Stories, to use that gym analogy, it's right, stories, the content you consume, the information that you read, right? That's like your nutrition. And then these platforms, they're like the gyms that you go to, right? All those different tools that you can use. Your strategy is going to be your workout plan. And then posting and engaging, those are the reps that you're going to put in. And you get stronger, you get better over time. But since the beginning of time, storytelling is what human beings have used to communicate, to build community. It's an exchange that transcends all types of cultural and socioeconomic boundaries. Storytelling has been the primary sense-making device. Our brains love it. Our brain spends about 30% of the day daydreaming, except for when it's engaged in a story. I mean, how many times have you sat down to go write a report in Excel or something, and you can barely get 5 minutes before something else comes up and you're ready to go do that? But if there's an 8-hour Netflix marathon, you can totally power through the whole thing, right? because an engaging story is what our brains love to be engaged with. So stories help us make sense of the world around us. They also help us make sense of the world within us when we come across a character that we identify with, whose experiences and emotions mirror our own. But most of all, we love stories of transformation, right? The jerk, the selfish jerk who becomes kinder and more giving and develops relationships with people. The woman who is, given up on love and learns to find love again, and the like Ebenezer Scrooge who learns the meaning of Christmas and suddenly decides to be generous with all of his riches and his wealth. We love those types of stories of transformation. And what is urban revitalization if nothing but a series of stories of transformation? So now we're going to talk about the elements of a story. It doesn't matter what movie, what book you've read, they typically have followed a path similar to this. Every story starts with a character who wants something, but he has a problem that gets in his way. And then he meets a guide, someone who's been there before and has overcome that challenge, who gives him a plan and then calls the hero into action. And that action can either result in success or failure, right? So think of any of your favorite movies, right? Star Wars, Luke Skywalker wants to go on an adventure, wants to be more than just a sand farmer. Meets Obi-Wan Kenobi, and in later movies meets Yoda. And then they give him a plan of how to use the Force so he can go and defeat the dark side, right? Go blow up the Death Star. And that could either end in success or failure. So whatever your favorite movie, just think of that and map it onto this diagram you see here. Now, here's a shift that I want you to start to consider when it comes to not only your business, but your social media and how you engage with others, is that you are no longer the hero of the story. Your audience is the hero. The person that you're serving is going to be the hero, right? And heroes don't want other heroes. Heroes are looking for guides who can help them overcome the problems and the challenges that they have. So your social media profiles, your thought leadership, should always be about your audience and not your particular brand. You want to be the guide. You want to be Obi-Wan and Yoda to Luke Skywalker, Mr. Miyagi to Daniel-san, Dumbledore to Harry Potter, whatever it is. That's the person that you want to be in this story. And when it comes to being a guide, with the messaging framework that I use when I work with my clients to help them position themselves as the guide, we focus on two things. These two elements are empathy and capability. So with empathy, people want to know that you get them, right? They want to know that you understand the struggles and their frustrations. And when your followers and customers sense that you understand them, that their problems, their hopes, their fears, it creates a bond with them. And they're more likely to follow you wherever you go. And this is what creates that level of trust. So every relationship that you've ever been in, business, personal, professional, whatever it is, even if you're like the brand of socks that you choose to buy, has gone through these three stages of relationship. And that's curiosity, enlightenment, and commitment. So curiosity is when people wonder, who are you? Why should I listen to you? Why should I follow your content? Why should I connect with you on LinkedIn? Why should I engage with you or subscribe to your email list? They're curious about what's in it for them. And that curiosity leads to enlightenment on those questions. So you're constantly, that's the longest part of these three stages, is the enlightenment phase. Is you're constantly reinforcing all of those and answering all of those curiosity questions that they've had. And because confused people do not take action, they do not engage with you, It's important that you're always educating and enlightening people throughout this stage. So if you drop off, if you're not consistent with it, they're going to disappear and they're not going to re-engage with you. And so lastly, the final part is when a person is ready to commit. And that commitment could look like, maybe they accept your LinkedIn request. Maybe they follow your profile. Maybe they sign up for your list. I don't know if any of you do any assessments or connect calls with people, but maybe it's booking time on your calendar, right? Or they decide to do a project with you. That's the commitment phase. And it doesn't matter how long you've had that relationship, you're constantly going through these three phases. Because once you get to the first level, now it's the next level. Okay, you got me through this part, but what, the next level that I'm trying to get to, are you the person who can take me there? So let's talk a little bit about your digital presence and your social media, right? And how you show up online is extremely important, both personally and professionally. Your digital presence is made up of your social profiles, any websites that you own, any place that you publish, any type of thought leadership or articles. Each of these are your own form of branding. So they can be used to highlight your skills, your experience, enabling you to showcase, to others why they should work with you, why they should partner with you. And they can also help you build a network of contacts and others to connect with. Now, the question might be, why? Why use social media? Well, social media allows you to do at least 4 important things. It allows you to discover new ideas and trends. So those of you who have Twitter accounts, the right-hand sidebar that has the what's happening, any of the trending news, the alerts that come through, that allows you to discover, what are people talking about? What's in the zeitgeist today? And then you can decide if that's a train that you want to jump on, if you want to comment or jump into that conversation. You certainly have the opportunity to do that. I know LinkedIn has that also on their right-hand sidebar of emerging news topics, things that you can engage in. If you've heard of something like Google Alerts or Google Trends, you can see what's happening worldwide, and you can also shrink that down to search in different geographical areas. To find out, what's happening in Monmouth County, what's happening in New Jersey or the Northeast region. And you can set up those alerts for yourself so that you're getting them to your inbox, so you're staying on top of those emerging trends and data. So, you get to connect with existing and new audiences in a deeper way. Before social media, in order for you to get in front of an audience, you either had to have a really good PR firm or a good PR budget, or know someone who worked at a major publication to get something published. And that was typically the way that you have to do it. Well, now with social media, every single person has their own broadcast channel, their own way to connect with others, their own way to push out information that they want to have others see. But you also get to reach those people if they are into what you're talking about and they want to connect with you. Now you have access to those people, and you don't have to rely on a major publication in order to do that. You can bring attention and traffic to your work. Again, going back to, you don't have to rely on a major publication or a gatekeeper to decide, what's worthy of talking about. If you have a project that you're passionate about, you can put it onto your social media, get it out to the right audience, if you use the right hashtags, if you use the right audience, and make sure that, you're bringing eyes and attention to the work that you're doing. You don't have to wait for somebody else to do that. You can do that for yourself now. And you can build, craft, and enhance your own brand. One thing I like to tell people is that, even if you don't consider yourself a content creator, you're not somebody who's trying to have 1 million followers on YouTube, you are always creating content. Every time you interact with someone, every time that you post something, every time that you share something that's happening in your world, you are creating a piece of content that can be consumed by others. So all of that is telling a theme, a story of who you are, what you care about, what matters to you, right? So you want to bring that consistency into everything that you're doing. But this is your opportunity to build and craft and enhance your brand and you have complete control over that. Never before has that kind of power been available to the individual than any time than now. So how do you build a professional online presence in 2023? Well, first of all, I recommend separating your personal and professional accounts. Not everybody is going to get your brand of humor, so you want to be careful about sharing certain things if you're not sure how it's going to go over, right? Anything can be, like as we alluded to before with the breakfast fight, anything can be taken and skewed and turned into an argument. So you want to separate your personal and professional accounts. And here's the other reason that you want to do that. You want to do that because, one, people, let's be honest, people are vicious online. When they're not standing face to face with you, there are people out there who will say things that they would never say in front of their mother, right? And unfortunately, it's a lack of integrity, lack of morals, or courage, whatever it is. But people are willing to do that when they're sitting in front of the keyboard. They don't consider the other person on the other side of that exchange and that interaction. So separating your personal and professional accounts allows you to create a layer or separation between your personal identity, because people can be vicious. You don't want to take that stuff and make it mean anything about you. You want to just have that level of separation where it's like, okay, I can mute that, I can ignore it, or if you want to engage with it, you can, but it has no impact on who you are as a person and who you are in terms of the people that care the most about you. Create that layer of separation just for your own mental health so that you can mute it, turn it off if you want. Yep.
Are you allowed to have separate Twitter accounts?
Yeah, you can create as many Twitter accounts as you have email addresses. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I highly recommend, if you want to keep one that's just for family and friends, and if that's a way that you are able to, show pictures of the kids and the grandkids and your pets. We love our pets and you want to share that, but you don't want to overwhelm your professional feed. Definitely have a personal one so people can follow that, but then have the professional for any type of thought leadership that you want to create. So next, use the platform that suits you best. I tell people all the time that you don't need to be on every single social media platform. I don't care what any social media guru tells you, any of the experts. They're all just trying to drive up their membership numbers. You do not need to be everywhere. You do not need to have an account on every single platform. Even if there's money being made over there, right? It may not work for you because that's not the platform that works for you, right? So make sure that you find a platform that suits you best. The best social media platform is the one that you're gonna actually use. All right, take your profile picture seriously. Listen, I know the wedding was great. I know you looked good in the tuxedo, but having that cropped shot of you as your LinkedIn profile photo just doesn't work anymore. You probably know someone who's really good with the camera. We have all the technology to take really good selfies. Just find a way to take some time to have a really good professional photo of you. Using that cropped photo just doesn't work anymore. People want to know that you're someone who's going to take your profile seriously, especially if they're going to engage with you, if they're going to take that time to invest in hearing content from you. They want to know that you're also taking yourself seriously as well. And one of the best ways to do that is by having a very good profile photo of you. Clear picture of your face so that they can see that, oh, this is the person that I'm talking to, this is the person that I'm interacting with. One, fill out your profiles completely. Take advantage of all the space that's available to you. Again, it all comes down to creating your own brand. You are in control of the story and the narrative that you're telling here. And if you're gonna be the guide, if you're gonna be someone that the hero is looking for to help guide them through whatever problem that they're dealing with, make sure that you take advantage of every ounce of space that you can to express your empathy and your authority. All right, connect with care. I had to advise a colleague of mine just last week about his professional Instagram because he was changing it over. He was a realtor. He wanted to do a little bit more, stuff on social media. And he asked me for some advice, and I took a look at his profile and I looked at some of his connections. And there were a lot of, Instagram models that were half naked and, dancing and stuff. And I was like, listen, if you're gonna be serious about using this for connecting with people, connecting with other businesses and getting business from it, you probably should unfollow or just create a different profile for this type of content that you want to engage with. I'm not judging you for it. You're totally able to do that if you want to. But if you're gonna use this for a professional aspect, then you want to be mindful of who else that you're following and what type of content you're engaging with, because that stuff is visible. People can see it. You want to give yourself as many chances as possible to be in control of your narrative and your presence by making sure that you prune and you do these things with care. Share with intention. A lot of people tend to just post whatever stream of consciousness is happening at any given moment. And it doesn't always work out. This is where you get yourself into trouble because you're not sharing with intention. Sometimes people are just trying to be provocative, but provocative to what end? Is it stoking a good conversation? Is it going to generate leads for you? Is it going to shift a paradigm that's happening in the industry? What is your intention when you go to share that post or that thought? So make sure that you do it with intention. And then don't post and ghost, right? Social media, it's right there in the word social. You want to engage with the people who like your content. If someone likes it, if someone reshares it, follow up and say, hey, thanks for sharing that post. Or if someone makes a really good comment under a post, thank them and engage with them a little bit more, right? You're not just creating a relationship with that person. You're also communicating to everyone else that's seeing that, your network and their network, that this is someone who cares. This is someone who is engaged. This is someone who interacts with people. They're open to having that dialogue. Yeah, this is the person I'm going to continue following. Oh, sorry. There we go. All right, and then keep your profiles up to date. If the last time that you've looked at your profile was 2020, I highly recommend that you get on there and check it today. Make sure that there's nothing that's outdated. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a profile or have looked at a company and have reached out to a person. Maybe they work at one of my ICPs, my ideal client profile, and I go to find out, well, they're no longer with that company, but they haven't updated their LinkedIn. All right, so if you're trying to keep those engagements and those connections going, you want to make sure that your profiles are up to date, that people can always find you and they can always see the latest thing that you're doing. All right. Oh, yes.
How far do you think you should go back in your career on LinkedIn?
I say go as far back as is necessary for whatever project you're trying to create, whatever project you're trying to do now. Only have the stuff that's relevant. I think, I need to do this on mine, but I still have my Starbucks experience on there. That's completely not relevant to anything that I'm doing today. So I would go back and take that off, right? If it's not relevant to anything that you're doing today, feel free to go ahead and take it off. Or if it communicates a certain skill set or something that you developed, maybe there was a major lesson that you learned from that job, keep it on there, but then use that as content that you can create and talk about just to further show your expertise. So your social media should serve your audience, not your ego. Right? If you're in it for followers, if you're just trying to get that follower count up, you're gonna have a hard time doing that. People can tell when you're just trying to, engage for the likes, engage for the the follower count, because you're trying to get the verified badge. Although now you can just buy that for $11 or $14 or whatever it is. It's no longer the prestige that it was. But if you're just in it to make yourself look good because there's something that you think that it's going to validate something about you, like, oh, once I hit 100 million followers, then I can go do X project. It's not the best way to go about it. You want to be authentic. You want to be real. You want to be engaging with people for that purpose. Give. Give again. Give some more. Then ask. Most people, when they come onto social media, they're trying to make that sale right away. I mean, how many times have you gotten, I expect everybody's hands to go up, by the way, but how many of you have gotten a LinkedIn request this week and literally 5 seconds after you accepted that request, they're in your inbox sending you a request to buy something? Yeah. That's the type of energy that we don't want on social media moving forward. Those who win are those who give value. So if you give value continuously, repeatedly, consistently, and it's high value stuff that they're not going to get anywhere else, you are earning the right to ask for whatever you want at that point. Because when you've given so much free value to someone and they've used that information to grow their business or make a change in any projects that they're doing, you've earned that right to ask for whatever it is that you want. One of my clients gave me a testimonial, and I've never actually worked with him. He's just someone who's in my networking group. He subscribes to my newsletter. He hears my weekly talks, but he implements those things on his own site, on his own material. And he gave me a testimonial that said, when Ali speaks, I listen, which I guess was a throwback to a commercial that was before my time. But what is it? Okay, EF Hutton, got it. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, this is definitely way before my time. I apologize for that, but yeah. But yeah, so just giving that value for free to anybody, like that's how you increase your thought leadership, because you're not asking them to do anything. You're not interrupting, or you're not interrupting their inbox or just jumping in without being invited. You're just giving that value and just helping them win, and that's why they're going to remember you. So, all right, let's see. Let me just check time. Okay. All right. So, social media tips and strategies. All right. So, when it comes to social media, I tell everyone there are no cheat codes. This is the old Contra Konami code, if anybody remembers that from old school gamers here. Whatever you do, ignore the hacks that tell you how to beat the algorithm. There's no cheat code for social media marketing. No matter what you do, there's always something that can change. It can always shift. So whatever worked last week or even earlier this week may not work today. So yeah, there are small tweaks that you can do to make the algorithm give your content a slight edge, or at least so that it doesn't get buried. But nothing ever went viral just because it ticked all of the algorithm boxes. Trying to beat the algorithm shouldn't take priority over making the sort of content that your audience wants to see from you. Make your content to please your audience, not the algorithm. So, not every piece of social media marketing advice applies to you, right? What works for one person or brand or organization may not work for you. Oftentimes when I have conversations with clients or prospects, they'll tell me, oh, I heard that you need to do this on social media in order to grow your following, or to generate more leads. And I was like, oh, great. Where did you hear that from? And then they'll tell me it's from the team who's doing the social media for a multinational brand that brings in $100 million a year, and it's a consumer product. Meanwhile, this is a property and casualty insurance company with 5 to 10 employees. More than likely, that social media strategy is not going to work for what you're doing. So don't always, so when you come across that advice, don't be in a rush to try to implement it. Take a second and just to investigate, what is the makeup of the company? Where do they work? Are they in-house, or do they work for the agency? What's the size and makeup of their company? Is it a consumer product, right, versus a service-based product? Are they B2C versus B2B, right? You want to take social media advice from people who started in the same place as you, or trying to get to, or in a place that you want to get to, right? Trying to follow social media advice or advertising tactics and strategies from brands that are much larger than yours, that have bigger, deeper pockets of money and teams, is just a fast way for you to go bankrupt and to drive yourself crazy. All right, I'll say it again. Don't chase the algo. Going viral is not a strategy. I can't tell you, when I've worked for other agencies, I had a boss who was like, "Hey, we need to do something to go viral." Right? It's like, sure, all right, let me just go press the go viral button on this post, and I'll see you tomorrow. Right? If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Right? And the things that go viral, oftentimes it's like a one-shot deal, because then you'll see another company or another account try to match or copy what that company did, and it'll fall flat. Because oftentimes what has something go viral, it's like lightning in a bottle. It's like a special mix of, timing, the personality of the brand, what's happening out in the zeitgeist, what's happening out in the environment. It's unless you can perfectly replicate those conditions, going viral is not a strategy. Yeah. So next, avoid shiny. Sorry, you have a question?
I just wanted to stop you and go viral.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the benefits that are happens then?
If you go viral?
Yeah, what are some of the rewards that just specifically say
Mm-hmm.
understanding, and do you see people ride that wave for a while? Or is it generally, people want to go viral, but then what? Does it always fall off?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So he's asking, how do you take advantage of that? Going viral, does it always fall off? What's the benefit? Right. So the benefit is obviously you get those eyeballs. People pay attention. They're talking about you. They're like, "Wow, this is great. It's such a great ad," or, that was really cool. And you might have a trend that follows for a while. I'm thinking about the guy who's riding the longboard with the ocean spray, listening to Dreams. Right. Everybody tried to ride that wave afterwards. But where's that guy now? Who's talking about ocean spray now? Right? So unless you have an apparatus or a team in place to capitalize on that attention, that sudden, massive influx of attention that you have, going viral can actually do more damage for your brand than the benefits that you would get out of it. So you just want to consider, that it'd be great if you have that, but then you're always going to be compared to that moment that you went viral. You're always going to be trying to chase that versus just being authentic with your audience, which is what actually had it go viral in the first place. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Okay. Cool. Anyone else? Any other questions before I move on? All right, cool. Avoid shiny object syndrome. Focus on those principles before the features. And I think this actually kind of ties into that going viral thing as well. So one of the great and annoying things about social media is that it does move really fast. And if it's not a new platform that's coming out, then there's some new feature that's being introduced. And if it's not a new feature, then there's a new trend that's being introduced, right? And if it's, there's always something to chase after. But chasing never leads to success. It hasn't led to success in business, not in dating or relationships, and certainly not on social media. Again, people know when you're just trying to chase those vanity numbers versus actually creating authentic content that's designed to help them. So authenticity is the way. There's an audience that you, each and every one of you, are uniquely gifted and qualified to speak to. So be you so they can find you. I posted this on my personal Facebook the other day. I was talking about how sometimes you have that experience of imposter syndrome. You're like, there's so many other people who are already doing what I'm doing. There's so many other people who have experience with this particular subject, right? You might have experienced that before when you thought about publishing an article. You thought, well, somebody else already did that, or this was already talked about, last week. The fact that remains is that, you are uniquely gifted and qualified to speak about something, and there are people who are waiting to hear it from you. They want to hear it in your voice. They want to hear you add your own experiences to it, your own perspective, right? They may have even interacted with or followed that other person, but it didn't move them to engage or take action because there's just something that was missing. And you might have that thing that's missing that actually makes them take action and engage with you. So never stop yourself from publishing something or talking about something or utilizing your platform Remember, because you can be the one that where they actually hear it for the first time. All right, so let's talk about some ways that you can increase your reach. Obviously, I'm always going to come back to creating great content. The more content that you can create, the better content that you can create, that's going to be the thing. And if you're having any thoughts or questions about, well, how do I create this much content? How do I do go about it? As I said before, every piece of interaction, everything that you post, everything you talk about, that's a piece of content. But use it to, collect data, right? You need a lot of data to be able to analyze it and determine like what works, what doesn't work. So if you post something once and you don't get the reaction that you want, keep posting. Right, that's the only way to find out how to get better, to find out what people really want, what's going to have them engage. You need as much information as you possibly can. A lot of people say, oh, focus on quality, not quantity. I say focus on quantity until you get quality. Because the more at-bats you get, that's the more information that you can use to determine what's actually the quality that you want to keep serving to your audience. You can also leverage someone else's audience. So if there's someone that you really admire, you like the way that they, how they phrase things, you like the way that they go about their stuff, and you just think they're awesome, you can leverage their audience. And you can do that like on LinkedIn by commenting on their things, right? Because that creates a story or a post in other people's feeds. People who follow that person, they'll see that you've interacted with that. It'll also create a post in your own feed that people will see that you have interacted with that piece. So leverage somebody else's audience. And if you can get on somebody's podcasts, get onto their networks, join together to create content, that's even better. Creating those types of partnerships will work too. And then pay to play. Obviously, we're dealing with multi-billion-dollar companies. Mark Zuckerberg needs another multi-million-dollar house, so he definitely wants you to pay some advertising dollars. Elon Musk has to make back that $44 billion, so he wants you to put some money into that, into the platform. If you have the cash, definitely go for it. But again, I say focus on creating great content first, so you have that data, that wide data set, so you can figure out where you actually want to put that money, because it's a very easy way to go broke fast. So again, do one or all three, but just focus on being authentic and prioritize your existing tribe over getting new followers. I'm sorry, say again?
Explain what pay to play really means.
Yeah, pay to play is basically in order for your content, your posts to get a larger reach or further reach to your audience, you're going to have to pay. They want you to pay money, basically. So you think with LinkedIn, about 20% of the people that are already following you see your content at any given time. And what happens is when you go to make a post or a reel, the algorithm will show it to the 20% people first. And then depending on how they interact with it, the algorithm will decide if it's going to feed it out to more people or out to their Explore page. And then depending on how the non-followers on the Explore page interact with that content, that's when they decide if they're going to keep serving it up to more people. Now, you can pay to boost those posts. Anytime that you post on Instagram, there's that little blue button in the lower right-hand corner that says, hey, this is a great post, boost it. Or if you post something on Facebook, you always get that message, this is better than 95% of the other content that you've posted. Why not put some advertising dollars towards it? I don't recommend doing that, only because you don't have control over the audience that it gets sent out to. I always recommend, if you're going to do any type of paid social media advertising, one, work with an expert who has a proven track record and who's managed the large amounts of money to be able to do that, those advertising budgets, but then have also gotten a very good return on ad spend. That's the one key thing that you want to look at, is that ROAS, the return on ad spend, in terms of if you're going to work with them or not. It's very easy to kind of fudge and manipulate those numbers. So if you know that they're getting a good return, that's the person that you want to work with.
So when you do get a professional involved,
yeah.
how do they focus those dollars?
I wouldn't comment on that because I don't know. I don't want to give you information if it's something different. Like everybody might have a different way that they decide to do it. And it also depends on industry. It might depend on your budget. There's just too many different variables for me to give you an answer from here. But I would say just definitely focus on, find out what their ROAS is, the return on ad spend, and then look for testimonials and try to find testimonials of people who were just like you, spent your dollars to get the results and figure out if there's somebody that you want to work with. Yep.
A testimonial is good to issue out as new data on your own profile.
You're saying collect your own testimonials and then send out? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Basically, new information, let's say, landed a new job,
Mhm.
boom, out.
Yeah, if you landed a new job somewhere, yeah, that's definitely something that you want to put out. But if you're talking about testimonials, like someone who can testify to the work that you've done or the type of person that your character, right? Those things you definitely want to put out there. Yeah, absolutely. And get them in many different formats. One of the things that I like to use is Clutch.co, because Clutch.co is a review platform. They have ones where people can go and submit it via text or email, but then they also have another one where they'll call the person and actually interview them to get further information on you and how their work experience was.
If you had a website designer working on your own professional website,
Mm-hmm.
will they also, in my mind, I believe ours also react to social media. Is that typically the case?
You saying the web designer would take care of your social media?
Yeah, could. Or assist them.
They could. You would want to work that out with them. Some web designers just want to be web designers. And then some social media people just want to be social media.
Fully understood.
Yeah.
How often do you foresee yourself updating profile, things like that?
I would say anytime it's something that's relevant to your industry. If you get a new certification, definitely put that on social media. Yep. But don't just say, "Hey, I got this new certification." Talk about the benefit of what that certification is. Like, what are you now able to do? What do you now know? What are you now capable of? How are you able to help your audience even more now that you have this certification? I'm actually getting certified in, going to be getting certified in business coaching next April, or this upcoming in the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to be talking about that because now I have another, tool in my toolbox of which I can help customers, my clients, do even better, grow their business even better, right? Aside from just helping them have a great message and slick branding and a digital marketing platform, now I can help them out with some of the sort of the mental head trash that comes along, or helping them organize their business in such a way, right? And that just came out of that came out of a very authentic sort of way that I work with my clients. Like when I work with my clients, I don't just, if they say I want a website or I want a logo or something like that, I don't just say, okay, cool, here's my package price and, send me a check and we'll get started. I want to know, like, what is that website? What is that project when we have success? What are you going to be able to do now, right? Does that mean that, because you have a website and a marketing system in place and now you're generating leads and things are automated, that now you get to leave the office at 6:00 and go make your kid's baseball game and you're not going to miss any of those anymore? You're going to make it home for a spaghetti night or whatever it is. You're going to be able to take a vacation or just have a little bit more time off, right? There's always the thing behind the thing, right? They never just want the thing the solution. It's what the solution allows them to do, and it's what you're solving for, how they feel about the problem that they're confronting, right? You solve that for them, you solve that frustration, you're gold. They'll follow you anywhere. Because you're not just the guy who gave them a website or a project or something like that. You're the guy who, helped them go home a little bit earlier. You gave them some more peace of mind at that point. I saw a hand back here. Yep. No. No, if you can't, what's that old rule? If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a lack of integrity on your part, right? It's not authentic to who you are. If you're just giving that testimonial just to be nice, what's going to happen is they're going to go do business with that person based off of your recommendation. They're going to have a bad experience, and then they're going to come back and say, "Hey, why did you tell me this guy was great? This was like terrible." Right? And then they're not going to trust you anymore. So yeah, don't give a testimonial that's not accurate, that's not true, if it's not authentic to the experience that you had. All right, so let's dive into some practical things about LinkedIn. All right, so again, going back to have a professional profile photo and banner photo, have an engaging headline. Don't just have your job title up there. I like to frame it as, here's the problem I solve, this is who I solve it for, and this is the result that they get. And put that into your headline of your profiles. All right, make sure you have a complete and up-to-date summary, detailed work experience. You want to showcase your education, your licenses and certifications. List any volunteering history that you have. If you've done good work, people like that. People like to know that the people that they work with are out there doing good things, that you're not just doing a good job in the professional stuff, but you're also giving back to the community. Include any skills or endorsements. Request and give recommendations. Right? If you want recommendations for yourself, get really good at giving recommendations to others. And if you can't give a good recommendation, maybe just give them some feedback of how they can improve because you want to help them out. Right? Also, customize your profile URL. It's very much easier to find me at Ollie J. Taylor than it is to find me at 0895-AB G or something like that. The normal thing that comes up when you first create it. So customize any of your profile URLs. Really helps if you make it all the same. I try to keep all of mine as AJ Taylor 317 or Bell Marketing Design Studio on all the different platforms that I use. Again, showcase your work. Use that as an opportunity to demonstrate your problem-solving skills, your thinking, help people to get a picture of what it would be like to work with you. Any honors and awards that you might have as well. All right, one of my favorite aspects of LinkedIn is the creator mode, which gives you more ways to engage with your audience, particularly if you're looking to build your thought leadership. This is definitely something that you want to make sure that you have in your profile. These are just the criteria. I'll let you just take a picture or a screenshot of that. Yeah, as long as you meet those criteria, you get access to a host more tools to be able to say publish articles. And this is different from people just following your profile or connecting with you. What happens is every time that you publish an article, they'll get a notification that you have created that article, and it's an opportunity for you to get that engagement. And you can also share that to any groups that you belong in, share it elsewhere on the web. All right, and then LinkedIn recent activity. Again, when we talk about your digital presence, everything that you do leaves a trail, like leaves a little crumb, right? So any articles that you publish, any activity that you have, anytime that you comment on somebody's post, if you like it, if you reshare it, that creates a paper or digital paper trail of your activity, right? And so someone is able to see all of that. They're like, wow, this person really engages here, they engage there, they're commenting here. It creates a complete picture and view of who you are. All right, so just to recap, we're coming up about 1:55 now. So your audience is drowning in a sea of noise. Cut through it with storytelling. Your audience is the hero. You should be their guide. Use empathy and credibility to build trust as you go through the 3 stages of relationship with your curiosity, enlightenment, and commitment. Your digital presence is about you, but it's for others. Give a ton of value before you ask. There are no cheat codes for social media success, and not every tactic or strategy will work for you. Don't chase the algo or the latest trend. Be authentic and attract the people that are waiting to hear from you. All right. Now I'll open up to any other questions. Yes, I think.
Any suggestions on how words can be, it's always kind of, I would say, stressful. Make a post about, hey, I just got enough work, or
Mm-hmm.
guys, or you feel like we're bragging. So how to, any quote, any suggestion on how to kind of manage that to create harmony or with that type of achievement and share with the audience?
Yeah. Well, there's like two things there. One, if you've done the work to get some achievement, don't feel like you're bragging. You put in the work, you put in the time, you did what was necessary to get that achievement. You've earned it. You have a right to be proud of yourself, right? You have a right to share that. Now, if you're wanting to make it valuable for others, then talk about what that achievement is going to allow you to do, how it's going to allow you to help others, right? If it's a certification that helps you help businesses make more money, talk about that. And then ask people to engage with it. Like, hey, who can I talk to about this that needs help with this, right? Those who have the most social media success are those who, they share authentically, and they're always trying to help others. So even if you're talking about yourself, you can still use that as an opportunity to help others. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part. Oh yeah, it's not just hey, I got this award today, but really, yeah. Good.
How do we apply some of these principles to like our CSI chapters? We have a LinkedIn page for a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who's running it was famous for saying in their meetings, social media is not social. I'm the only one doing it.
I mean, he's absolutely right.
He's having a problem even getting the active members to go to the links on LinkedIn from our chapter.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's absolutely right, and I've said this before to clients. It's like, if your employees don't engage with your own content, then why are you expecting anybody else to? Right. So if you have members in your chapter who said, "Wow, membership is dwindling. We're not bringing guests. We're not growing," ask them, "Well, okay. Well, what are you doing to contribute to the growth? Do they have their own profile set up? That would be a first place to start. And then, are they engaging with the content that gets created? The guy who runs your social media is absolutely right. If it's not social, if he's doing it himself, in terms of, you have to find you have to create sort of the vision of what's the benefit of them actually putting in that time, right? So if it looks like, hey, if everybody is posting and sharing and engaging with our stuff, we can get X number of members, we can grow our chapter to this. And then here's what that means for us. And whether it's like your personal projects or the business that you're doing, how much more business could you be doing if you had more members, right? If you can create that sort of long-term sort of roadmap and value for them taking the time to engage, that might be an easier way to, they may not like it, right? We all don't, there's all things that, happen in business that we don't like doing, but we see the value of it. If you can create that value and keep repeating that value over and over again, that might be a way to get them started with engaging. Yeah.
To that end, even in our chapter, on LinkedIn, there's maybe a half a dozen people, maybe, that integrate, but maybe as chapters, when something's happening on either a second or on a project or on a project end, and you engage with the chapter, that benefits not only you but the chapter.
Mhm.
And so to broaden the horizon,
Mhm.
how do you actually need somebody to be a social butterfly to be honest on a regular basis? Because I know from my standpoint of view, as an AOR, limited time,
Mhm.
once a day, twice a day, what's generally
The cadence and stuff.
yeah?
This is what I tell people.
Because
Yeah.
ultimately it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay. In my mind, LinkedIn and Twitter are probably the two most prevalent for professionals.
Yes. Mhm.
Am I wrong?
That is my view. I do share that. For more business, I mean, you can. The thing is, you can get business from everywhere, right? There are people making millions of dollars on TikTok.
On Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed.
But I'm not suggesting that. Like, if you've been born with 3 left feet and you've got no rhythm, maybe don't try to learn the latest TikTok dance as a way to get business.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
sure what-
Yeah.
But I look at Facebook as personal,
Right.
and I look at my Twitter and my LinkedIn as professional.
Yeah. Yeah, you can bring a little bit of the personal into the professional, but I would say in terms of how often to post, the cadence, and all that stuff, it's more important to be consistent than to be frequent.
Yeah.
As long as people know, like, okay, every Wednesday I'm gonna see a post from you at 11 o'clock, and they can count on that, like they can count the sun rising, right? That's fine because that's what they know what to expect. But if you try to post 5 times a day, and you just do like this deluge for like the first week, and then suddenly you drop off on Friday, and then they don't hear from you again for 3 months, they're gonna forget about you, and they're not gonna really engage with you anymore.
So my professionals, from what I see right now,
Mhm.
my consultants will be posting on weekends, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing.
Yeah.
About different things, which seems to be the most appropriate.
Mhm.
And that's regular.
Yeah, as long as they're consistent with it, and it matches the authenticity and what they're trying to do. That's as I said before, the best social media platform is the one that you're going to actually use. And as long as you're consistent, and you keep that same schedule, that same cadence, that's your audience knows what to expect, and they're able to engage with you. So, yeah.
Quick question on
Yeah.
LinkedIn and Premium. They're trying to reach people to get more people on Premium, or is it similar to just basic LinkedIn?
They're definitely, if you are someone who does any type of business development, LinkedIn Premium would probably be really good for you, especially their Sales Navigator tool. You can use that to, one, search the types of companies. You can create a total ideal client profile, in terms of entering all the different data and information of that people that you want to find, and then find people that work at those companies, and then you can create them as leads, and you'll get a notification anytime that they post something or interact on LinkedIn. And all that does is that just gives you the opportunity to jump in there, be the first person to add value and offer value to that person or comment on something that they've done. So if you're trying to do that, if you really want to fast track like building those types of relationships, LinkedIn Premium or Sales Navigator would be a good tool to use. Anyone else?
We're going to talk about one or two more.
Yeah.
I'll just like to make a comment about my experience accidentally going viral the one time. I was on Facebook and reading a lot of negative comments about a local hospital project, a major economic development project, and decided to write a Facebook post on my personal account about my opinion about it, and then all of a sudden, one of my Facebook friends, who's a U.S. congressman, saw it. Look at this great post Kevin wrote and everything. Reposted it.
Yeah.
I got hundreds of comments, 1,000 likes,
Yeah.
I like phone circles all the time.
Well, of people like congratulating you or saying like, "Hey, I liked your perspective," or yeah, yeah, and so those are your people, right?
And it just happened by accident.
Yeah, yeah, because you weren't trying to do social, you were just being authentic and just sharing something that mattered to you and that was important. So at the end of the day, like that's really what social media is all about. That's really what your thought leadership is all about. Just being authentic and sharing like what's important to you, what matters. It's the story that you're telling, and the more people that you're trying to help, that's how you win. So thank you all so much for giving me your time and attention today. If you want to continue to connect with me and see some of the other content that I create and talk about and how I'm trying to help business owners, you can use the QR code to follow me on LinkedIn. Or if you are a user of Instagram, you can follow me on Bell Marketing Design Studio on that platform. So. Thank you.